Hi everyone, we're so excited today. We are sponsored by Eve Legal AI. They have really transformed my practice. They are a fully integrated AI system that you can use with all of your cases. And it's one of those things that has converted how I feel about practicing in a way that I can really focus on my clients, I can focus on strategy, and Eve really takes the hard part out of being a lawyer. So check out Eve Legal AI today because we have April Roberts here. She is truly an inspiration and a friend. I feel like I can consider you a friend at this point. She is from Big Law. She has a pedigree this long, and she decided to take a transition from Big Law into entrepreneurship. I've watched her grow several different businesses over the time. She is the host of Vixen Voice, and she owns Vixen Gathering. So welcome, April Roberts.
Thank you.
Thanks for being
so excited
here.
to be here with you ladies.
Yes, so excited. We got some time last night at dinner to get to know her a little bit better. And I have to say, I don't even think 45 minutes is enough. So we need to get started. And I would ask first and foremost, because I didn't know everything that you did.
Yeah.
But if you would, just summarize right now, what are you doing right now?
What am I doing right now? So right now, I am a spiritual healer and business mentor to female entrepreneurs and CEOs.
Okay, let's elaborate. We're going to break it down just a little bit.
Sounds good.
Talk about the spiritual healing. How does that work?
What is that?
Yeah, what is it? How does it work? I asked last night because that was the most curious question I had.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for asking. So even my clients that don't per se do spiritual healing with me, actually my intuition and that work comes in because spiritual healing really heals you on every level. And to be clear, I do spiritual healing for God. So a lot of people are like, what do you mean by that? So, it's the Christ consciousness working through me. I am the vessel. And the reason I chose, when I sold my financial practice, which I'm sure we'll get there, and started doing consulting and coaching, I had been getting spiritual healing since 2019. And, April 2020 hit. Remember that crazy time?
Mm-hmm.
I was running a financial firm, somehow had the great idea to start our own registered investment advisor agency. So I'm literally running two companies. I'm the chief compliance officer. We're in an economic downturn. I have a newly digital team. And spiritual healing kept my sanity. And not only that praying and meditating every day, because all of these people were looking to me, our hundreds of clients, our team. My parents had come on board working with me because they had moved to Texas from Mississippi. So even though I'm not married and I don't have kids, I had all of these people on my shoulders, as I think we often feel as female entrepreneurs, right? We're nurturers. We want to take care of everyone. And so my gift to myself was I would get a spiritual healing for myself and for my business once a month. And I've done that since April of 2020. So not only did it help me keep my sanity and keep me calm, and I actually took opportunity. We hear that in any crisis, there's opportunity, right?
True. Wherever there's a problem, there is a solution.
Exactly. And so because my nervous system, myself, etc., was regulated, I just told my team, I was like, look, we were getting commoditized as financial advisors. People are scared right now. What do they want? They want another human being talking to them. This is the time we thrive. And I would start that conversation with my team every morning. And we just doubled down on serving our clients. And we doubled our recurring revenue, not our total, recurring, which is the important stuff, from April of 2020 to January of 2021. So not only did it make my life better, it increased my business as well.
Well, honestly, you humanized that whole terrible process of a downturn.
Yes.
Like you brought the humanity to it. And then thankfully, what you had tried for yourself, now you're doing it for others.
Exactly.
And do you still, sorry to interrupt, but do you still do the spiritual healing with whoever you were using for yourself?
Yes.
Okay.
So what happened was when I sold my practice in 2023, I now had time and I had talked to my healer. I was like, should I go to your teacher and learn? I'm really curious. Because I had helped him with some things and he was like, he had been like training my intuition because we all have it. But if you haven't had a relationship with it, especially women, we're blessed with our intuition. It's our deepest wisdom. But in today's world, we know, especially if you're a lawyer, like, I mean, it's very analytical, very logical, very male energy driven. And so, and also as we get older, we have more roles and responsibility. So we lose this relationship with ourselves and our intuition. And so I was being trained to tap back into that through the spiritual healings. And then when I sold my practice, I said, okay, I'm going to learn how to do this now so I can help other people. So that's
so great.
Basically how it came about.
I mean, how do you get women that are very controlling in these very structured environments?
Dawn. No, I'm just kidding.
No, it's okay. I get it. No, but how do you get people to kind of lean into their intuition and actually trust how they feel when they have really, I mean, law school breaks you down, corporate breaks you down, like everything has to be done this way. If you do something just a little bit out of the norm, then they, knock your feet from under you. So how do you get strong, powerful women to kind of lean into the intuition part of us?
Well, great question. So I never convince or preach. So basically when women are looking for it, they find me.
That's so cool.
Yeah.
I found you.
I know.
Well, and aren't you, Dawn, right now questioning, am I using my intuition? Like now I'm really wondering, could I really tap and capitalize more? You have me so intrigued, April.
Well, here's another cool part. So I obviously had a business coach and consultant growing my financial practice, right? I mean, because same thing in the financial world, just like being a lawyer, you can be an excellent lawyer and have no idea how to run a business.
Exactly.
Like being a I like to call my clients visionary vixen CEOs,
that's
right?
So great.
And so that's a whole different hat to wear than practicing law. Think about it. And I have clients that are lawyers and running their firm, just like you. And, this is a lot of hats. So long story short, I had a business coach consultant. So I had to set my business goals for the year, for 3 years, for the quarter. So I took that process with his permission and I added in the feminine essence and the intuitive part. So I have a 6-step process I run my clients through for goal setting. So they're curated to them. And I added this tapping into your intuition as the first step. Last January, 96% of my clients hit their income goal first quarter when we added in the intuitive part.
Wow. Oh, that is impressive. And is that not just heartwarming?
Oh, it's amazing.
You just know how productive you're being and the time that's spent, and then they actually have to feel better about the whole business aspect, the entrepreneur, all the hats, because we all know there's certain parts that, I enjoy the people aspect of it, but I did not enjoy the admin part of it.
Oh my goodness.
But, when you have your own business, that's what you're going to do. So.
Well, you think that, but if you don't enjoy it, we need to hire it out and leverage your time, right? Because one good thing, you kind of asked me last night at dinner, how do women go from being a lawyer to an entrepreneur? And I think we'll dive into that. But one thing is, at least as a lawyer, I know things have changed, but at some point you're used to charging for your hourly rate. And I'll never forget when I was a baby lawyer, I call it. I was 25, and as you said, I was at a very large law firm. And my legal secretary was amazing and brilliant, and she was the secretary for the head litigator in the firm. And so I was so lucky and blessed to have her. And long story short, she caught me making copies one day. And she was like, what are you doing? And she basically gave me a talking to. It was like, you don't get paid to make copies. And I'm like, well, I know you're busy. You have a lot going on. It's no big deal. I could do it because that's what we do as women, right? And she sat me down and she said, the client pays you $200 an hour. Do you think they want to pay you $200 an hour to make copies? They pay me nothing. And she probably made more money than I did. She'd been there forever, right? And so that just always stuck in my mind. And even running my financial firm, same thing. I was bringing in an average of $2,500 an hour for the firm. Why am I doing something that's not at that level of value? Or that sucks my energy. There's someone else that loves doing a spreadsheet. You give me a spreadsheet, I break out in hives, right?
Yeah, I'm with
Give
you.
me a nice dashboard with the summary and I'm good.
Yeah, summaries are important for sure.
Yes.
I like summaries. I think we're high level like that, you and I too.
Overview.
Lisa. We just we don't need all the details.
Yeah, I don't need the details.
Yeah.
Just get to the point.
Exactly.
Bullet points.
Move on. Well, so tell us a little bit. I think one of the things that I've learned from you, just watching your podcasts and listening to you as much as possible, is kind of understanding energy and how you can change the energy in a room. You can change the energy in your life. And I think that really dovetails from the intuition talk that we're having. So can you talk to us a little bit about how you coach your clients through that openness to really, believing in the energy part of it?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's important to understand that we all have different energetic blueprints. So I always say, if you want to be incredibly successful, be it as an entrepreneur, a high-powered attorney, the more you know yourself, the more successful you're going to be. I think we all agree on that, right? And, when you're younger, that's hard to understand. But I understood this as I started, I had different coaches, consultants. Oh, take the Colby assessment, take the Print assessment, take the Clifton. And each one was like a mini mind bomb for me. I was like, oh my gosh, this is why I'm like this. Oh my gosh, this is why I'm like this. And so it's the same with our energy. And we started getting into this a little bit. People talk about human design, and most people don't understand that well.
I don't.
I don't either. I don't.
Tell us.
I love it. Yeah. We will definitely get into that. I have a girlfriend who's genius that works with business owners to cultivate it to their human design. But for me, it started with the Colby assessment, because I'm a 3394, if you're not familiar, and that's Colby with a K. 3 is fact-finding, 3 due diligence. I was a 9 quick start, meaning I'm an idea generator.
I'm a 7.
Yes. So we'll jump off the cliff and figure out if the parachute's working on the way down, right? Whereas somebody that's high in the first numbers has to check everything, etc. And I was like, I literally, when I saw that, I was like, how in the world was I a litigator at one of the largest firms in the country when it's all about facts, it's all about details, it's all about follow through? So luckily early on, because of my life, I left law because I would have burnt out. I was not built for that job, even though I was very good at it.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so when you start learning yourself, and so that was my first aha. But I think back to law school, this was funny. So I went to Notre Dame, as we were talking about at dinner last night. So I was I went to Vanderbilt undergrad, so it shouldn't have been that big a deal. But I was like, oh, it's law school. Okay, I better go by the books. And I'm not a by the books kind of person. You're probably not either if you're a 7 quick start. And so first quarter, first semester, I was like, okay, let me do my outlines. Let's have our study groups, blah, 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 every week. I burned out a month before finals and was like, forget it, I'm not studying.
No way.
Yeah. Second semester, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out and have fun with my friends. And a month before finals, I'm locking myself away and diving in. I made better grades doing it that way because energetically, that's what suited me better, right? Mm-hmm. So even then, I don't know how, I just kind of understood this naturally. Mm-hmm. And so working with my clients, at dinner last night, I could see patterns and I was like, okay, there's a ton of energy here, but we need to direct it somewhere. Where are we directing? Yeah. I just can pick up on these things and guide my clients. Mm-hmm. And then as they learn about themselves through assessments, or you can do an energy audit all week. Just write down everything that sucks or drains your energy and write everything that generates energy for you.
I think
and you
that
start
is the
learning.
Most important thing that I've learned from you is because you're going through your daily tasks, right? Mm-hmm. Step by step. I have to get this done, this done, this done. But if you're not evaluating how you're feeling through each one of those things, then you don't know how to delegate. You don't know how you should be spending your time. True. You don't know when you should be working on certain things, because sometimes we have more energy in the mornings, sometimes we have more energy in the evenings. So I mean, what can you do? So you just make a list of the things. 15 minutes, kind of like billing, right, for lawyers. Just 15 minutes, I'm doing this, and how do I feel on a scale of 1 to 5?
I like to say, if you have a well-architected calendar, which you should.
I don't.
Okay, we're going to work on that. Your life becomes so much easier. I am not a regimented person, but that was the first thing my first business coach was like, nope, let's organize your calendar. And I did it kicking and screaming. And she was like, give me 2 to 3 months. And sure enough, I was like, oh my gosh, there's so much freedom and structure.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the calendar didn't say I had to do something, I was completely free to do whatever I wanted, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, let's pretend you had a well-architected
All right.
calendar. You can literally color code your calendar or put a little symbol. Like you could put an S for suck and a G for generating. Like just like open up your calendar and put a little note in there.
Like picking a jury, right?
Yeah, most definitely. Next time I see Dawn, I'm going to say, give me your calendar. I'm going to be looking for the S's and the...
Sana has it.
She'll be over.
Or you could just text Sana, hey, this really sucked.
Exactly. For you guys that don't know, Sana just basically, I could not live without her. She runs my life and she's here today. So kudos to Sana over here.
Yeah, so that's one way. You can literally carry the little notebook around with you. I have one in my purse. Your notes app on your phone, like however is easy for you. Again, we all operate differently. Last night I was sharing how I only do voice notes and voice messages now. So I'll just open the notes app, voice note myself a message, and like receive it later. So whatever works for you, however you're on the go.
I hadn't even considered that until you mentioned that last night. I didn't even know you could DM somebody with a voice message.
Yes.
I had no idea.
It's
what is wrong with me?
powerful.
Yes.
And the amount of information that you can get into a voice note, whether you're texting it or sending in Messenger, is incredible as opposed to typing it out. Time saver too.
And then what about energy? You're conveying your tone, your energy, we get tired of reading information. And just to maybe hear a voice here and there, I think that's brilliant. When I first started practicing, the lawyer that I worked for, he dictated stuff. They had like dictating machines, right?
Yes, I remember those days.
And so now my daughter is going to University of San Diego and she dictates her information and it types out as she's doing it. I think that is so great. I really have to convert to that because it's so much quicker. Everything's accurate now so that you can actually save time and you know the energy that somebody else is conveying, or you can really, brighten somebody's day or, really emphasize that moment by using your voice.
Oh yeah, because I was a communication major and it's like, oh gosh, it's crazy the amount of communication that's nonverbal, right? So that's why Zoom is so powerful because at least you get to see them if you're not in the room and their mannerisms and their little tweaks. And then your tonality is the next most important, and then the least important are the words you use. So,
because everybody's just hearing and watching.
Yeah, if you're typing, all you're getting is the words, and it's like 7% of effective communication.
So if you're really bad at body language and voice, you just write everything. You just type everything. Otherwise, you need to adapt and change for sure.
Well, it's even like in my financial firm, I was like, before you get on the phone with a client or a prospective client, like literally, if you get up and you shake your butt, like do a little dance, put a smile on your face, and you get on the phone or on the Zoom, your energy is so much better. You really can hack it that easily. Like people can tell even if they can't see your face if you have a smile on your face.
That's right. Yeah, like receptionist. Are you the one that told me?
Yes, my receptionist. We went through a whole bunch of receptionists because they would just promote into a position, and then we decided we need a receptionist.
Yes,
so
it's so important.
We hired Judy. She was older, but she would put a mirror so that when she answered the phone, she would have a smile on her face. And, you can tell if somebody's crabby in their tone, and that was the reason. So then when different people in the office would sit at her desk for lunch or breaks, everybody would be like smiling at the at the phone and at the mirror, but it really served a purpose.
Yeah.
I think it just lifts your voice when you're smiling.
Yeah.
People hear it.
And this is energy. Everyone thinks energy is so woo-woo, but why do you think we had to stand, I won't go there, but the whole COVID thing, 6 feet apart.
Yes.
You know what that does? You can't feel someone's energy as much from 6 feet apart, right? So we lost connection. Like, if you walk in a room and you get a bad feeling from someone, and if you're attracted to someone and you're like, I want to talk to that person. I mean, that's their energy. You're feeling their energy.
I don't know. I feel like the whole woo-woo thing.
Yeah.
I just really felt all woo-woo about all this until recently. I don't know if it's getting older and just kind of just leaning into who you are and just really trying new things to adapt to the changes that we go through, in our 20s, our 30s, our 40s. And you can feel energy.
Yeah.
I think I got into a cab one time. I was with my husband and I don't even know why I remembered this, but we were in, I don't know, Cabo San Lucas or something like that. Yeah. And we got in this cab and I told my husband, I was like, we have to get out of this cab.
Yeah.
I said,
that's your intuition.
And he just thought I was crazy. I put my foot down. I said, we need to get out of this cab. And we got out of this cab. But that is energy. That is intuition. And I was probably 25, 26 years old. So.
Well, and the crazy thing is, I shared with y'all last night, I was watching a podcast and this woman was talking like scientifically, like she's super like brilliant. And she was like 99% of the universe is made of plasma, which is the non-material aspects. So we're focusing on 1% of the universe when we focus on what's material and like real to us, like this table, right? I mean, you don't really know the air, but you believe it's there.
I feel like we're breathing it.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident about that.
Yeah, I'm signing on for that program.
Well, April, so tell us another thing that I think that you've done well that I've seen is making transitions, because you have gone through a lot of different transitions, and I think that sometimes we get stuck where we are and we think we've invested so much time and so much energy into one part of our life, going to law school, going into big law, then all of a sudden thinking it doesn't really feel right, and then having the courage to change. And I know we're both high quick starts, so it's a little bit easier for us, but if you could just speak to tools that you can use to walk through that process first, trying to make a decision about whether or not it's the right one for you or the best one for you, and then how you go through that next step to get to where you hope you want to be.
Yeah, I love this question. So first of all, I want to emphasize what you said. I'm a 9 quick start, so change comes easier to me than most of the population. And I share that because as you're self-reflecting, you don't want to compare to others too much. Like, oh, this was easy for her, it should be easy for me. That's not necessarily true. You might be made up a different way where it is more difficult. But in general, I can tell you, I learned early on because my marriage failed because my ex-husband had an addiction problem, and I went through him cleaning up twice, and he was the love of my life. We absolutely adored each other, but at some point I was just mentally, physically, and emotionally drained to the point that I couldn't get on the plane. We were living in Italy. I was visiting my parents. I went to get on the plane to go home, and my body went into convulsions. And my parents were like, you're not getting on that plane. And I was 30-something years old, and my parents were like, no, you're not getting on that plane. So that was my 2x4 to the forehead moment that we talked about earlier. And of course, like I had signs before that. I had whispers, like you have to do something different. You can't stand this. But, you love them, you're young. I mean, it's very much the same when you're invested in a career, right? Yeah. And so when you start getting these whispers, I find we get told 3 times and then we get the 2x4 to the forehead, right? And so I just got to a stage in life where I'm like, I've had the 2x4 to the forehead. That's not fun. This is the 3rd sign. I better figure it out. And so some of us change faster than others, but one thing I know, and this is hard for we high-performing women, and I learned it in my last transition, is I knew I had to make a change, and I had no idea how to do it. I had the vision of what I was supposed to do, but I didn't have the roadmap to get there. And so I just started asking for help. And
you asked for help?
Yeah.
Is that okay to ask for help?
And maybe because it was 2020 and it was COVID, I got the 3rd sign April of 2020, and we just talked about what that was like for me. And I literally looked up and go, really, right now? You want me to do this right now? I remember, I'm in my bed reading a book, and I'm like, somebody would think I was crazy if they saw me right now. I was like, really? Right now? Seriously? And then I was like, okay, it's the 3rd time. The 2x4 is coming. And so I just, I had met someone who was kind of mentoring me, and I was like, hey, I saw this picture on me on stage at Madison Square Garden. It's not me, it's the audience and the women I'm impacting. I know I'm supposed to make this impact. What do? I'm a financial advisor running a company. I was a lawyer. I don't know how to do this. Oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. She scheduled me a meeting. That person, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. That person, oh, you need to talk to so-and-so. And next thing I know, I had a series of Zoom calls, because it was 2020 when we were first on Zoom. Well, like these amazing female entrepreneurs wanting to help me.
I love that.
And sharing what they were going through in 2020. And I'd come from law and I'd come from finance, male-dominated industries. And I was just like, God, am I supposed to work with women? And he was like, yep.
Yeah.
And I was like, that was new to me too. Like most of my friends were men because of the work I did, right? I mean, my girlfriends were girls, but my peer friends were male. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to have to figure this out. And so just asking, and you know, one of my favorite definitions of faith is like you take the first steps in the dark and then the path lights for you.
Oh, I love that. I just kind of got goosebumps when you, not even kind of, but I did get goosebumps when you said that.
Yeah.
That's the hardest part though, is convincing somebody that it's okay to take the first step, because the first couple of steps are the scariest part. So I don't know. I think that when you're in a position to where it just doesn't feel right anymore, you just have to kind of try, right? Just try something different. Just try something new. Just see how that feels. Because if that's not right, then maybe you can take another step or change directions or something. But just feeling stuck all the time, that's the hardest part.
Well, and you both are making me really curious about that test. Like, I feel like I need to take it because I don't know what my numbers would be.
I'll send it to you.
Yeah.
But I will.
I want to know your numbers so bad.
You know, both of you are talking about take that first step. Just go, do, you're stuck. But you know, people literally get stuck. Women get stuck, and they just can't do anything but status quo. And so I was on a plane with no Wi-Fi. I had one motivational speech thing that I had downloaded on my phone, and I thought, okay, I'm coming home from vacation. I guess I'll listen to 75 minutes of this so that I had something. Well, you know, God always has a plan. He's setting you up for something. And there were so many wonderful points. The gentleman that was giving it is one of the writers of the Chicken Soup for the Soul.
Oh, yes.
So he, you know, so what he did is in this 75 minutes, he just took everything that he had and like peppered you with all these different things. So it was just phenomenal. I actually loved it. But one of the huge takeaways, because it becomes super challenging for me to set like these ridiculous goals. And
BHAG?
just what?
It's called a BHAG, right?
Is that what it is?
But
the
I
biggest,
renamed
the big
it
dashes.
Well, it's Big Hairy
asterisks or
Audacious
something.
Goal, which
Yes.
grosses me out. So I changed it to Bold Heart-Led Audacious Goal for my clients. So if you want to take that, you're welcome.
I was like, what are you saying? Like, I was just like,
You're a BHAG.
it just went a really weird direction.
Sorry, Lisa.
No,
Sorry, continue.
but just one of the things that he said is that, you know, because once you write down a goal, I think there's anxiety and issues related to, okay, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this?
Now I have to
and
do
so the thing that just like the heavens opened and sang to me was that he said, if you write it down, the how-to will show up.
Oh, gosh.
And I mean, it
great.
just gives
I know,
me
me
chills because, you know, I have all these things that I want to do, but just writing them down, and they're just so crazy, the nervousness related to that. So you two quick starters who just take that first step no matter what, for the rest of us, just know, write those goals down, implement what April's saying, and like the how-to shows up. And the other thing, well, I won't go into all 10 things, but the other thing that he said related to that is that this was super powerful for me as well, is for every hour you visualize your goals and your dreams equates to 7 hours of physical activity.
Oh, wow.
So if somebody wants to get more out of your 24 hours a day, start visualizing your goals, even if you're only spending 15, 20, 30 minutes, and then, you know, you get them memorized. So then at that point, if you're driving in a car, you're just like, okay, I'm going to do that. You know, like I just rattle them off.
Yeah,
and so anyway, just it totally falls in line with what you do.
So I want to encourage you, the next step after you write it down is to speak it out loud.
Okay.
Because we live in a world, think about how closed our throat and our voice is. Like, I can't say this. I'm in this room. What can I say? What can't I say? And so write it down. Love that. And then speak it out loud to someone you trust.
Oh,
Even
Oh,
if
you
it's
have to
just
tell
yourself
oh,
first.
okay, Dawn.
Yeah, let's just tell ourselves first, right?
But make sure, you want it to be a safe place. Like
Sure.
Brene Brown says, not everyone deserves to know your story.
True.
So we're not just out there spraying everyone with our goals and our dreams. But no, I love encouraging women to dream again. And they, in my experience, they're not as bold and audacious as men are when it comes to this. So the number one thing I do with my clients is, what's your unapologetic income goal? And then we're going to set your nervous system, set your capacity so we can hit it.
All right.
All right, April, how can someone find you, potentially sign up, all the things? Tell us, how can we find you?
I love it. So Instagram, Vixen Gathering, VIXEN Gathering. On LinkedIn, April Roberts. I'm in Houston. That helps you find me because there's a surprising lot of April Roberts.
Only one April Roberts in my book. That's it.
Oh, I
That's it.
love you.
That's it.
YouTube, Vixen Gathering as well, and my website is vixengathering.com. So I actually personally monitor all the DMs because I just think relationships are incredibly important.
All right.
I believe it.
Well, we're so excited that you were here. Thank you for
Aw.
coming up to Dallas and
Thanks
coming
for
to the
having
Tower
me.
Club with us. And we're going to bring her back for sure.
Oh,
We're
most
definitely
definitely.
bringing her
So
back.
if you have comments, questions, comment below or send us an email at hello@ladiesinlaw.com because April's coming back.
That's right. Thanks, everybody.